The moment my older brother raised his glass at Thanksgiving dinner and said, "Before we carve the turkey, I want to thank Mom and Dad for trusting me with the family business," effective immediately, the room went dead silent. Then he turned to me with that smug half-smile he'd perfected since we were kids and added, "And Alex? You're out. Nothing. Zero stake." They finally saw who the real leader is. Forks froze midair. Aunt Linda's eyes widened behind her glasses. My dad stared at his plate like the mashed potatoes held the answers. Mom dabbed her eyes with a napkin. But not for me, for the difficult decision they'd apparently made behind my back. I felt the heat climb my neck. Metallic taste in my mouth like I'd bitten down on a penny. 28 years old, 10 years of blood and sweat poured into Dad's auto parts empire, late nights rebuilding suppliers, renegotiating contracts when the economy tanked, hiring the team that tripled revenue. And in one toast, I was erased. The oak table we sat around was the same one where, at 16, I'd helped Dad balance the books after Mom's medical bills nearly sank us. I'd skipped college parties to run deliveries. When the pandemic hit and dealerships shut down, I was the one who pivoted us to e-commerce overnight while Ethan was finding himself in Colorado on a gap year that lasted 3. Yet here he was, wearing the custom suit I'd paid for with company bonuses he never earned, announcing my exile like it was a corporate restructuring. I didn't yell. I didn't need to. I took a slow sip of the cheap Cabernet Mom always bought, letting the glass cool my lips, and met my father's eyes. "Dad," I said quietly, "should I pull up the emails now, or do you want to explain the succession plan yourself?" The words landed like a wrench dropped on concrete, sharp, echoing. Ethan's smile flickered. Dad's face drained of color faster than the gravy boat emptied. "Alex, this isn't the time," he started. "Oh. It's exactly the time," I cut in, still calm. "They announced it at Thanksgiving. Surgical. Public. So let's make it fair." I reached into the messenger bag I'd brought, same bag I carried contracts in for years, and slid a thin folder across the polished wood. Not dramatic, just deliberate. Inside, every incorporation document listing me as 60% owner because I'd bought out Dad's silent partners. With my own savings when no bank would touch us. The operating agreement Ethan's name never appeared in until a forged addendum last month, forged. Because I'd had the original scanned and timestamped with a lawyer friend 2 weeks earlier when I first smelled the setup. Emails where Dad promised Ethan the CEO title for optics, but admitted in writing the equity stayed with me. Proof they'd tried to quietly transfer control while I was closing our biggest distribution deal in Detroit. The room tilted. Cousin Jake leaned forward. "Wait. What?" Aunt Linda whispered, "Ethan's not even on the papers?" My brother snatched at the folder, pages fluttering. His face went from confident to panicked in seconds flat. I kept going, voice level. "I started as warehouse kid at 19. I turned Dad's failing shop into a 7-figure distributor. I repaid the SBA loan myself. Ethan? He showed up for holidays. Posted Instagram stories about family legacy, and thought showing up in a suit made him qualified. I looked at Mom. "You told me last year, we're proud of how you carried us. Then you let him rewrite the story." Dad tried to interrupt, "Son, we just wanted stability," but Uncle Ray, the quiet one who'd been a lawyer before retiring, held up a hand. "Let the boy speak. Facts first." I didn't gloat. I just laid it out. How I'd quietly filed protective documents weeks ago, how any unauthorized transfer would be invalid. How I'd already spoken to counsel and was prepared to walk if they forced it. But I wasn't walking away empty-handed. The company was mine, legally. Morally, every late-night pivot proved it. Ethan exploded. "This is bullshit. Dad promised me." Mom started crying. Saying family first. But the relatives were shifting, asking questions Ethan couldn't answer, looking at Dad like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Finally, Dad slumped. "He's right," he muttered. "The shares never moved. We hoped you'd step aside." The admission hung there, heavy as the turkey nobody was eating anymore. I stood up, coat already half on. "I'm not cutting you out. But I'm done being the invisible engine. We'll handle the rest through lawyers, clean, no more holiday ambushes." I looked around the table. "Enjoy the meal. I'll be at the office Monday. Business as usual." My business. I walked out into the November cold, breath fogging, heart hammering, but free. For the first time, the weight of carrying everyone wasn't crushing me. It was theirs to feel now. The fallout was ugly: texts, voicemails, Ethan raging about betrayal. But within weeks, the board, which I controlled, voted to formalize my role as CEO. Ethan got a generous severance and a consultant title, mostly to keep Mom from disowning me. Dad retired quietly. The company grew faster without the drama. People ask if I regret dropping the bomb at dinner. I think of that glass of wine. The way the room froze when I asked, "Should I pull up the emails?" and I smile. Because sometimes the loudest thing you can do is stay calm and refuse to disappear.